Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Politics Podcast. Thank you for joining me for yet another episode. My name is Amanda Gallagher, for those of you who are new to the channel, and I bring you all the latest news from X, which is a social media site, which is the #1 news site in the world. I bring you the latest from there and the latest commentary that you won't see on mainstream media. You don't see it on the RTE and the CNNs and the BBCs of the world. So I go through that for you in case you don't have an account and you don't know what's going on there, basically. So later on in the episode, I'm going to touch on Leo Varadkar and his shocking comments that he made on a podcast with Ryan Tubridy. I came across them yesterday. I came across a little video clip, and I'm going to bring that to you. But for now, I just want to touch on the presidential debate that's ongoing here in Ireland. The presidential campaign, for election for our new president is taking place on October 24th. There was the first debate the other night on Virgin Media TV, the first of many, I presume, of the three candidates. So we have a choice of three. The government, in all their wisdom, know what's best for us, and they have chosen three candidates for us, cherry-picked for us. Now, we have Jim Gavin for the Fianna Fáil team, and we have Heather Humphreys for Fine Gael, and we've Catherine Connolly, who is the supposed opposition, the supposed protest vote, if you will, that they have given us. So anyone that we wanted to get on the ballot, we had a number of good candidates looking to get their names on the ballot paper, were blocked, were obstructed, and were just not given the airtime they deserved. And it's very, very sad. On my last episode, I spoke about Maria Steen, for example, who was hoping to get on the ballot. She needed 2 more, I think, TDs or senators, and she never got them. She had 18 and she needed just 20. It's just a handful of them, and she couldn't get them. So that's where we are in the country. Michael McDowell, Senator Michael McDowell, we were hopeful he would be one of them, but it turns out now, it transpires that he didn't even meet Maria Steen or acknowledge her request, I think, to be nominated. He said in a newspaper post yesterday that he wouldn't have put her name forward because she may just win. And he felt it was a step backwards for Ireland. So he didn't clarify exactly what he means by a step backwards, because I'm not sure what he means. Does he mean in regard to, is it abortion? Is it the 50,000 babies that have died since the country went and voted abortion in? I don't know what he means. Is it all the IPA centres and the brothels and the unsafe streets, Senator? I'd love to know what he means by bringing the country backwards. So very shocking from Senator McDowell. But anyhow, Maria Steen never got on, or the other candidates that were hoping to get on the ballot paper. They never got their chance, and we'll never know would they have won or not. But anyway, back to the three that we have a choice on. Jim Gavin, who to me is a randomer, a total, never heard of him in my life before. He was on the debate the other night and he spoke so much about being, we all know that he's an army man. He spoke about the Defence Forces tons of times. So that's who Jim Gavin is. He's also a Gaelic GAA, I think, manager. Catherine Connolly then, Heather Humphreys is the Fine Gael person who spoke so much about women on this debate the other night. And as we know, Heather Humphreys was the person that Fine Gael put in charge of the referendums, the failed referendums last year. They failed to get the people on their side, and they failed to get the people to vote to remove mothers and women from our constitution. And now this same lady who was in charge of that is on our screen the other night talking so lovingly about women. Heather Humphreys seems to forget that we don't forget. They seem to forget that we don't forget. We all went in our majority last year to say no to that nonsense. No to the woke nonsense of taking mothers out of the Constitution because of outdated language, she said at the time. And now she is all talk about women because she's looking for the vote again. And we don't forget. And I think she said yesterday that the reason the referendums failed last year for the government was that we, the people, didn't understand. She is basically calling us dummies now. So on top of trying to take out mothers and women from the Constitution last year, now the lady who wants to be President of Ireland, who wants to be the protector of the Constitution, is saying that we were all dummies last year. Dummies. They call us mongrels and dummies. Can you believe this is where we are in the country? So that's Heather Humphreys the other night. Then you had Catherine Connolly, who is the supposed opposition. She has the backing of the entire left-wing parties in Ireland, and we are supposed to vent our anger, or if we have any grievance with the government or policy right now, or cost of living, or blah, blah, blah. Immigration, of course, is a big one. We are supposed to give Catherine Connolly the vote. Now, there is a big campaign going on X, mainly on X, called Spoil Your Vote. And it is a thing called, you put a hashtag, Spoil Your Vote, and it is trending. And it has been trending since this farce last week of the nomination process closing without a suitable candidate for all the people in the country who have had enough of everything, had enough of the whole woke agenda, including uncontrolled mass immigration into Ireland. So we are supposed to think that Catherine Connolly is the person to vote for. No, I am going to spoil my vote. And I don't know right now what I'm going to write on that spoil vote, but I'm going to spoil my vote. It is none of the above. I will not be voting for any of those three cherry-picked, hand-picked, not blocked candidates. None of them are blocked, including Catherine Connolly. So she is not a protest vote. She will not be opposition. She is all for the stuff the government is doing. Catherine Connolly has not said a word. For Newtown Mount Kennedy, for example, last year we had to watch the village of Newtown Mount Kennedy in chaos, blockading little country roads to try and stop an IPAS centre from being opened. A giant IPAS centre, I remember. We saw chaos. We saw scenes of the riot squad bought in. There was old people nudged into the ribs, pepper sprayed, going through the village at night, roaring and shouting, the riot squad, for people to stay in their homes. I think there was a helicopter in the sky. Chaos. And did you hear Catherine Connolly stand up in the Dáil and condemn that? No, she said the other night on the debate that she finds it abhorrent for people to say Ireland is full. She finds that abhorrent, she finds that outrageous, but she didn't find Newtown Mount Kennedy and the meltdown on all the other towns and villages across Ireland and the big purchase of City West Hotel. These left-wing people in Ireland are, I'm sorry to say, hypocrites. Absolute hypocrites, because they say nothing. They do not come to the community's rescue. That includes Sinn Féin. People Before Profit actually work with the landlords. People Before Profit actually work with the greedy millionaire landlords in this mass immigration chaos that's going on in the country. Sinn Féin, Labour, Social Democrats, the whole lot of them are in the pockets of the immigration chaos and the millionaires and the money, the amount of money that's going on. There's €240,000 every hour spent. That's a house an hour, 24/7, 365 days a week. That was at the last count. I'm sure it's gone up. But you don't hear Catherine Connolly calling that out. She doesn't call that abhorrent. But to say Ireland is full is abhorrent to her. Ireland is full. There's over 16,000 homeless people. Our 20-something-year-olds are stuck at home in their box rooms. They cannot start a life. They cannot start a family. The birth rate has plummeted. Everything has stalled. There's no houses being built. We have the highest electricity and the highest food costs in the entire European Union. And Catherine Connolly has the cheek to go on a debate. Now that the nomination process has closed, she has the cheek to go on a debate and say that it's outrageous that people would say Ireland is full. Ireland is full. Catherine Connolly and the entire left wing of Ireland. And you guys are hypocrites. End of story. And that's all that you guys are. And you don't deserve any votes. So you are not a protest vote. Jim Gavin is a randomer. I don't know him. I won't be voting for him. And Heather Humphreys tried to convince the country to remove mothers from the Constitution. It's outrageous. These are our candidates. And I must say that the debate the other night was the most boring thing you would see. And if you didn't see it, please do give it a little watch. It's on YouTube now, I think. Virgin Media debate, presidential debate. So none of these people are presidential quality, first of all. And none of these people have stood up for ordinary working class communities over the past few years. None. Catherine Connolly and her like, the left stand by while luxury apartments are getting built, while millions are being spent on hotels for migrants who the government have told us are 80% economic migrants. And these people come in and they're able to work and get all this free life. And Catherine Connolly doesn't think that's abhorrent. Catherine Connolly does not say a word about it, about the luxury apartments. Shouldn't the left-wing people in Ireland be up in arms about it? About making millionaires of these greedy landlords? They say nothing. That's how we know that they are not opposition. They are not true opposition. And anyone who would have been true opposition to everything that's going on was blocked from getting their name on the ballot, and that is anti-democratic. And that's why I shall be spoiling my vote. So as I said, there's a hashtag on X, hashtag spoil your vote, and that is trending. And it will continue to trend, I would say, right up to October 24th. And it's gaining traction because I heard it on Liveline, RTE Liveline, and it was on RTE News last night. And RTE News said that the Electoral Commission said that you can spoil your vote, you're well within your right to spoil your vote, but it will be cast aside. Well, that's not true because they will be counted and the number will be known. So I'm not telling you to spoil your vote, I'm telling you what I'm doing. And pass that on. A game of Irish whispers. I'm spoiling my vote, pass it on. So that's what I want to say about that. That is undemocratic, that there is nobody to vote for. That is the opposite of democracy. So whoever in the government came up with the idea of blocking somebody normal to vote for, I don't know. And Heather Humphreys calls us all dummies. She said that we didn't understand the referendum, so we're all dummies. They called us mongrels not long ago, and now we're dummies. This is not surprising or shocking at all anymore. We are well used to this nonsense going on. But what I really wanted to speak to you about today was a piece of video clip that I came across yesterday. And it's Leo Varadkar, who is our ex-Taoiseach of Ireland, a member of Fine Gael, talking to Ryan Tubridy, who was a presenter of The Late Late Show on RTE until he had to resign in a blaze of scandal. About 2 years ago now, I suppose a year and a half ago, and there was a public accounts committee for weeks on end with RTDs quizzing the RTE accountants and the board of the board. So it turns out that Ryan Tubridy had to leave. He got, I think, €150,000 in undisclosed payments. I think Renault car manufacturers were involved, and it involved him promoting Renault and them paying RTE and RTE giving them to Ryan, but it wasn't gone through the accounts properly. And I'm not sure if Ryan Tubridy ever paid that €150,000 back. I am not sure. But in this clip I came across yesterday, it is the most condescending, pathetic clip you will watch this year. I can guarantee you that. Because I want you to bear in mind when you're listening to these two guys talking. One who was ex-Taoiseach, who oversaw the chaos in the country in regards to immigration over the past couple of years in particular. And the other presenter, Ryan Tubridy, who had to resign in a blaze of scandal, and who came out and said that he is not comfortable with the Irish flag being flown in ordinary communities. So ordinary people flying the Irish flag in Ireland makes Ryan Tubridy uncomfortable. Ryan, I have news for you. This is Ireland, and the Irish flag will be flown. And if that makes you uncomfortable, well, then that's a you problem. That is a you problem, because that is not going to change. So bear that in mind. Bear those two things in mind. Leo Varadkar oversaw, as part of his government, the chaos of mass, uncontrolled immigration into the country. And Ryan Tubridy has an issue with people flying the Irish flag. So I'm going to play it now, and I will discuss it afterwards.
Here's a solution I kind of put to them sometimes is that we could actually operate Ireland without migration if we all do a 6-day week. So anybody thinks migration is a bad thing and doesn't want a steady stream of migrants, they should all sign up for a 6-day week. We could assign people. If you work in the health service, you just work longer hours. If you work maybe, I don't know, in education, you could volunteer to
less,
drive a taxi once a week, or I don't know, work in a restaurant, fill the gap of the migrants that you don't like.
I can see you running for office again. I don't know if you get elected. Maybe you would, actually. That's the weird thing.
No, he wouldn't get elected again because we're not dummies, as Heather Humphreys called us. We do understand. Many, many people have woken up now. And that's why Leo has mentioned this, because of all the people who have woken up. Paddy's awake. And every day Paddy wakes up further. I was awake in 2018. I was awake when I read on the UN website a document called Replacement Migration. And I've mentioned it before to my regular viewers. And I advise you, if you're new, to please look that up. There is a document on the UN website called Replacement Migration, and it's not a conspiracy theory. It's there in black and white, official document. In tandem with that, Ireland didn't sign up. Fine Gael signed Ireland up to the UN Migration Pact in 2018, in December of 2018. And in tandem with that, the Irish people voted for abortion in May 2018. And that's what woke me up. That was my great awakening in 2018. And I've been very vocal about this issue since then. In fact, I'm hoarse from talking about this issue since then. Me and many others. Because when you put all those three things together, you get 2025 Ireland. Chaos. IPAS centres. Luxury apartments being built. No deportations. Self-deportations. So go back to Leo Varadkar. That's what woke me up in 2018, okay? The UN replacement migration document, by the way, links. That's why I mentioned abortion there, because it actually physically says on the first paragraph that because of abortion and low birth rates, Europe needs migration from third world countries and Asia. So it actually says that. So I would advise you to go and look that up. So that's why I woke up, because the Irish people voted for abortion. And next thing, I read this document saying that because of abortion, you're going to need to be flooded with immigrants. And then in the December of that same year, I watched gobsmacked as Charlie Flanagan of Fine Gael went over and signed Ireland up to the UN Migration Pact. He went to Morocco. Those three things woke me up. And I could have known back then by looking out for those three things, what's happening now. What's happening now in Ireland? But that's not good enough for Leo Varadkar, because Leo Varadkar, and it's not only him, by the way, he just said this out publicly on a public podcast there for the whole world to hear. But can you imagine what's said behind closed doors? They all knew this. If a little person like me could understand this in 2018, Leo and the boys and the globalists and Ryan Tubridy's and all the people, the elite, they know this. They knew this was going to happen. But because Paddy has woken up now and Paddy's flying his flag and Paddy is looking for answers and Paddy's not voting the way they want him to vote, now Leo has come up with this brainwave. If you say anything about immigration, you must work, your children must work, your grandchildren must work a 6-day week. If you are a teacher and you have a problem with immigration, you have to drive a taxi on the weekend. That is what they are saying now. That's where this whole road has led to. From 2018 to 2025, now we are at the stage where they're saying you cannot not want mass uncontrolled immigration. You are not allowed to say anything about immigration. Or they see that the far right and racist labels that they have put on the entire country who have spoken out, they see that those labels have not worked and that people are not actually scared and people have found their voice. Now The next threat is that, so the bullying doesn't work and the labels don't work. So the next threat is, right, work will work. You're going to work. You are going to work. You are not going to see your own family because you will be working 6-day week. A 6-day week, according to Leo Varadkar. Now, that is outrageous. Outrageous, especially in light of the fact that him and his party are the ones doing it. They're the ones doing it, giving the millions to the millionaire landlords, building the apartments for the asylum seekers, letting them in. No deportations. And when there are self-deportation. Bring yourself back home. But, sorry, there is another generous offering on its way to immigrants who walk into Ireland and say the word asylum. Our Minister for Justice, Jim O'Callaghan, and our Minister for Finance, Paschal Donohoe, have come up with a lovely, lovely offering for the migrants who want to head home. They are going to give them €10,000 to drop their claim. Now, you got to think about that. For those people who say, oh, sure, that's great. That's cheap compared to what it costs. The whole asylum system costs in Ireland. No, this is not going to stop. This is not going to stop the flow, as Leo has said there, the stream of migration, he calls it, the stream of migration. So this 10,000, just think for a minute. So it's for people who are claiming asylum, and the only way you can claim asylum is to give a reason why you're claiming asylum, and the majority are death by execution or fleeing persecution, war and famine. I think they're the major ones, maybe religious persecution and political. So they have the audacity to go to a migrant family and say, hey, here's 10,000, go home, drop your claim here, go back to the country that you were claiming that was unsafe, go back and start a barbershop. I think Jim O'Callaghan said is to start a business, an incentive to start a business. They have the audacity to think that Paddy is this stupid. Compile your list, guys, of people who you're going to give the €10,000 to, but at the end of the day, that is the list of people that should be deported. You're saying that €10,000 makes it okay? Does €10,000 make the unsafe country safe? Or is the €10,000 to drop the lie? But whichever it is, it cannot be that the €10,000 of taxpayers' money goes to these people. You are basically saying that they lied and agreeing with their lies. And it's just not good enough. And that idea should be dropped, because that's not saving anybody anything. That's just making a farcical system more farcical. And Paddy knows. Paddy knows. So that is what Leo Varadkar, that was the main piece I wanted to bring you. The outrageous comments. They've overseen a chaotic immigration system into Ireland, and now you're not allowed, because people are woken up and because people are saying, hey, who's going to sort this out and what's going to happen? No, you have to put up with it, or you have to do a 6-day week, and your children and your grandchildren must work 6 days a week in order to not to stop immigration, in order to stop you complaining about immigration. So I'm going to spoil my vote. As I said, I will be back with another episode very, very soon. But I just wanted to let you know that I'm spoiling my vote on October 24th. I'm not sure what message I will write, but I will write a message, because we are done. We are done. We have no other way of raising our voice now on this issue or any issue in the country. We don't have a candidate who would have been a suitable president. So we have no choice but to spoil the vote, and we'll hope that it's a big spoil the vote result. And I will see you on the next one. Guys, please subscribe, like and share. And thank you for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.